Hello and welcome to the, whenever I get around to it, Art Roundup video where I go over all the art since the last video to figure out what I've learned and achieved since then. My name is Beck and I want to be an artist, so let's take a look and see what I have done. It's a bit of a mess at the moment. You can probably hear that I've been sick with the cold for the past week. I didn't do any painting or drawing. My ears are still kind of blocked. They're kind of unblocking themselves a little bit. But yeah, I'm still really congested and you can probably hear that. But all right. Hello, this is me in the future. It has been at least a week, maybe more, since I recorded this. And while I'm editing it today, I just want to let you know that it may seem like I have given up since I filmed this. And I'm going through a really hard time at the moment mentally, to be honest. I tried to solve this on my own and, well, I'm not doing a very good job. I think I might have developed some sort of PTSD or something. It's so stupid, and I'm constantly being triggered by outside noises thinking that they are threats, which of course isn't true, but because I have issues with letting it go, it means that when I'm not triggered, I'm waiting to be triggered. And that also means that I'm constantly thinking about it, which is just making it so much worse. It's just a vicious spiral that I can't seem to get myself out of. So I decided that I need help and possibly a mental health plan from my doctor, which I will be seeing in a few days. I'm only saying this because the last few days I really have felt like my world has shrunk and there is no room for art or YouTube or anything at all. And I haven't had the ability to do anything other than sit and stew, despite my best efforts not to do so. It's made me feel weak, it's made me feel small, it's made me feel helpless. So, it's just time to admit that I need help with it, that I cannot solve this on my own. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So with that said, I'll let you continue watching and hopefully I will be able to come back to art and YouTube once I get some help and continue on my journey and continue sharing. Yeah, and then we have this loose sketch. I did do them on loose paper because I was having a little bit of trouble with my confidence in doing them in the little horse sketchbook, which I will show you what I've done in there. But yeah, so I went back to the loose paper so that I can just throw it out if I don't really like it. Like, it's not as precious as doing it in the sketchbook. So yeah, I wrote a note saying, unfortunately, I have made this look like a child's drawing. And yeah, I just wrote some observations down there. How these horses must be able to balance on their back legs. This pose is really difficult for some reason, maybe because the movement is so precise and I am not. But I did write some words just to convey what it was that I was trying to get across. And then I did some of my training, I think. I have done it's not up yet because I've got a backlog of videos to edit that I haven't edited. But yeah, I found a way to do either that or I've said this before, so we'll see what it is. Yeah, but I was just practicing this one first. I was just practicing my stick figures with the horses. I said that I was going to do that a while ago, and my hands were really cold, and I was feeling really rusty, like really, really, really rusty. I felt like, you know that feeling when you sit down to draw and you think, oh shit, I can't draw. I don't know how to draw. And that's the feeling I sat down with. And yeah, it's not pretty. It is not pretty. You can see that this horse is way out of proportion. I mean, you just look at the front part of it, right? And you think, oh yeah, you kind of can imagine where the rest of the horse is going to be. And then, yeah, look at that. It's like the sausage dog of horses. But anyway, main thing was I wanted to work on on this type of frame, armature. And so I did a little bit more work on that. But I also put a little plane in there in perspective to help me figure out the orientation of the horse. And I felt that did help out in some of the more difficult, when I was having a little bit more of a difficult time. So yeah, breaking it down, trying to find the right armature. I actually really like this one at the top. I thought that came out really well. And you can see where I've tried to imagine where the neck would be, and then the scapula and the spine and the hip. And that's all in there in most of these. I may have rubbed it out, but yeah. So that's not too bad. So these were my loose sketches. I'll just put that aside. Whew. All right, so with this little horsey sketchbook, I've only just recently gotten back into this. I've got my little notes on here. Where are we? I think I showed that last time. So the next one is this. I did a little bit of, and this was just the other day on the 30th. So that was, oh wow, really? It's been a week. What? No, that can't be right. I tried to put in a little bit of, I was going to go back and label them, but I never got around to it. So I was just trying to put in a little bit of the musculature. You can see the triceps, the pecs. And some I did start going into the I think these are the extensors or flexors, but anyway I can't remember the name. But I did start going into that. Next we have, let me see. I think I've shown those ones before, but anyway this is the next page, and I thought I might just start putting notes in this as well. But you can see that with this one has a lot of underdrawing. And that was because it had been a number of days since I had drawn the last time when I picked up the pencil on this particular day, which was just a couple of days ago. And I tried a couple of different things. I forgot about the plane, completely forgot about that. So that might have actually helped in this to balance out the pose of the horse if I had to put that flat plane in there, but I didn't. But I did try grouping. I'll just get my pen. I did try grouping these front legs into, almost like a 2D plane that goes down like across like that. I don't really know if that helped, but it was an interesting exercise. It was just interesting to do. So there is a hip in there somewhere. There's a spine. I tried to draw all of that underneath. That's why it's a little bit messy. And then I tried to do a gesture of the pose, and that obviously didn't turn out at all. It's all out of proportion, like majorly out of proportion. A common theme that I seem to be coming up with is proportion. And I actually think that those planes that I did would help. So I have to figure out a few shortcuts for myself to know how big to make certain parts of the horse. So next we have, which was just a couple of days ago, was this one. So again, I went back to doing structures, and these are more skeletal structures. And this is all the same pose. I did the shapes. Again, shapes. Where are we? There we are. And then the skeleton, or just a rough estimate of what the skeleton might look like. Obviously, I'm not very good. And then I did this part here, just the front legs. I ran out of room, but that's fine. So it's a bit like the other one where was it? A bit like this one where I was filling out a little bit more of the muscle. So I did that again there. And I'm just trying to figure out shortcuts and things like that just to help me draw the horse, because I still find it difficult to sit down and start drawing the horse. What's after this? Let me see. There is another page. Oh yeah, we went back to anatomy. So I did this was yesterday. I did do some anatomy study. I went and looked, I had to go back to the YouTube videos of the dissections just to understand a little bit what was going on. But I thought I might put some more notes in, analyze how some of the joints, a shortcut for how some of the joints are working, like the types of hinges. And you can see some of that in there where I've done that. And yeah, it was this is the sacrum. This is actually a fused piece which sits in here. So I found that information and I decided to include it. So that's what this book is going to be about. So it's just a set of legs. And I was going to continue on, but yeah, that was as far as I got in this little horse book. But I've only got a few pages left, I've noticed. So that's going to be finished soon. And I am thinking about making another one. We'll see. Because I think I would like one that is just on... I don't know how I would do it. Because I do like this. I do like having this notebook, but also the information isn't very... it's not in sequence. I can't... Again, I've got virus brain, so I can't think of the word. But anyway, let's have a look at some of the paintings. I'm not sure if I've shown these before, so we'll see. We'll see. At least I know where I'm at now, so anything that I do from today onwards will be for the next time. So this is one of the paintings. This is in oil. And I can't remember what I was doing with this. It's on cardboard. Panty liners. I've thought about giving these away. I don't know. I don't know whether to give these away or not. We'll see. And then we had a couple of disasters. So this one. So this one is starting to curl a little bit. I did prep these with shellac and then a coat of gesso, but I'm not sure if this one had that or not. I think it did, but yeah. It's a hot mess, isn't it? I couldn't do the landscape behind because I've just not practiced in doing landscapes, and I actually even had trouble doing the horse and all of its bits and pieces. This is too complex just to do in one sitting. It's got too many fine complexities to it, so I think this would have been better if I had have done this over 2 or maybe 3 sittings, but because this was a practice painting, it's only going to get one sitting. As all my practice paintings usually do, that I do them in one sitting of about anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour. So I think next is this one, and it's just a horse head. It's just a horse head. I guess I was just practicing doing the head. It could be better because I do think that this part is a little bit diminished. Could have been fleshed out a little bit, but I am still learning to get control over the paintbrush and the paint. So that's all part of learning to paint. And we do have a couple of good ones. Let me see. Let me show this one first. So I thought this one was all right. I tried to practice doing a little bit of clouds in the background, a little bit more of a landscape. Although looking at it now, it kind of looks like this horse is taking a selfie. But it's okay. You can see a little bit of the ground that I put underneath. Oh, this one's dry. It's cool. It gives it there's kind of like a pinkish color coming through from underneath, which is kind of neat. And that's what's showing in this one, which I actually really like. This one. This is probably one of my favorite practice paintings. The other ones I put into a picture frame and hung them up on my bedroom wall. And I kind of wish I had put this one on there as well, but also glad that I didn't, because then I can show you. So yeah, this one, I actually really, really like this one. This is one of my favorites. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. I think that this one is a more interesting pose, but I think there's a lot of dynamic movement with this one. Especially in the way that I did the hair. I've got no hope in hell of painting hair at the moment. I don't know how to paint hair, and so I just tried to give the impression of it. So this is more of an impressionist take on this horse, and you can see that the head details, like when you go close up, the details are pretty rough. But you can also see the pink underneath coming through, which actually is kind of really neat. It really worked out well for this one because it just makes the horse look like it's glowing from inside, which I really like. And I think this hard edge here is interesting. And then you've got this kind of losing the edge of the hair up here, of course, because I didn't know how to do it. And yeah, then you've got this leg here has a little bit of underlight, like the whole underside of it has a little bit of lighting from underneath. There are places that I've messed up, but that's fine. yeah, so this was my favourite out of the lot, and I think this is, I used a lot of oil because I'm trying to get away from using toxic materials, so I'm trying to just use oil as my medium. So I might have used a little bit too much on that one, and if I use too much, it takes forever to dry. So that's this one. This one is touch dry, but I still think this will take a long time. I'll eventually cut these down. These little flaps are just for me to hold on to it, but I will eventually cut those off. So this one is a nice little painting as well. I love the colours. I really like the colours. And again, you can see some of that underpainting coming through a little bit. Maybe. Probably a little bit blurry. But yeah, I love the beachiness of it. So the colours I thought were very nice. And then we come to this one, which is a bit of a bit average, if you ask me. But, you know, it's all part of practice. Not all of them can be winners. Again, I had no idea how I was going to do this hair, so that was the best that I could do. And looking at it now, it's actually not too bad. I think I was on the right track in grouping them together, but the paint was just so oily at this stage because I'm still trying to figure that part out. It was very hard to keep painting. And I did try and put a little bit more of a landscape in. If you would have noticed that these ones have got a little bit more of a landscape in them. This one didn't because I totally fluffed on that one, but it worked out all right. Yeah, so this one's got a little bit more of a landscape because I do want to be able to paint that part of it as well. So we'll see. And yeah, so this isn't too bad. Looking at it now, I think this is a lot better than what I initially thought it was. It is a little bit boring, but you know, I think if I had have used more the light as a better tool, I probably could have brought this one out a little bit more. Perhaps the way that I was able to bring out the light in this one. I do have one more to show you. I have to be careful because I do think this one is still quite wet in places. And this is the result of the long painting number 2. So this is my second one. I actually really like it. And you can see why I was starting to include some landscape in my paintings, in my practice paintings, because I wanted to do it in this one as well. But yeah, how's that? So this is, I think, 8 by 10. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's got eating the flowers. But yeah, I think this horse came out really, really nice, and I think this is better than the first long painting that I did. So yeah, I'm really proud of this one. I've got to say that this one will be part of my portfolio. Oh, this is the number 2 out of the 6 works of horses before I can move on to my next subject. So yeah. But one thing I have made a few observations, and that is that I think that I need to be doing more than one long painting at a time. So I can work on this one, and then I can start the next one, and then go between the 2 or 3 and just let them rest in between. And that way I can get them done, because I feel like I'm wasting time. It's taking me too long to do these 6 paintings. I also need to figure out how to make a portfolio, where I'm going to put my portfolio and what I'm going to put in it, which ones I'm going to include of my drawings and of my paintings. So that's a decision for future me to make, but I'm quite happy with the progress considering how stagnant I have been feeling. And I don't know, I go through moments where I think that I'm on track, and then other moments where I think, oh, this is just too hard. And I think that's probably normal when you're learning, when you're trying to become an artist. Now, I did write some goals down last time in the last video, and I think I got these. I think I did all of these. It just took me a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I do think that I got all of these done. So pretty much it's going to be the same thing for the next week. I think what I want to do is I want to try and get a little bit more of a routine going with my drawings, with my drawing practice and my painting practice, and actually doing the portfolio pieces, these ones. So I want to try and figure out a routine and work out the processes for that so that it can be easier for me to do. Now, obviously, it's complicated at the moment because I am also learning to paint. I'm also learning how to draw these subjects. And when I say learning, I mean, you might look at some of the stuff that I've drawn, and there is a lot of hit and miss, and that is just because art is hard. The more you learn about art, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And I'm trying to learn all of this on my own. I have no teacher. Life is my teacher. My work that I've done is my teacher, and the lack thereof. So yeah, that's what I've been up to since the last video. And I know that there are a few videos that still need to be edited. So this probably won't go up today. It will probably go up in the next couple of days. I just have to get my ass into gear and start editing the backlog of videos I've got. I just haven't felt like it. I've obviously being sick has put a bit of a corkscrew in the works. Is that a saying? Spanner in the works. Has put a bit of a spanner in the works is probably a better way to say it. And I just have to try and recover. I also need to keep my focus because I can feel myself losing focus quite often. And I think this is because I'm just doing the same subject over and over. So I need to get on with it. When I say that I feel like I'm losing my focus, I'm also aware of that. And I must say that when I'm painting, and this is one of the things that I've observed, is that when I'm painting, and I do a painting or two every day, well, not every day, usually on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, perhaps a Thursday, I might work on the long painting or whatever it is that I've got going. If I can keep that routine going, I actually get excited about doing it. I actually look forward to it. And then when I'm not painting, I think, oh, it would be really cool just to be sitting down and painting right now. And I think that's something that I want to nurture so that it makes it easier for me to sit down and paint. And this is the other thing with oil painting is I have to make I'm still discovering how to make it easier for me to walk into and walk out of. And by that, I mean reducing the barrier to entry, but also reducing the barrier to exit, if that makes sense. So when I want to paint, I can just have the thing that I want to paint, my paints, my brushes, and what I need, and just start, not having to do an hour of preparation before I even pick up a paintbrush. I think I've got my barrier to entry pretty low at the moment, which is good. Now my barrier to exit, what I mean by that is that when I finish painting, I also don't want to be spending an hour cleaning up afterwards so that my brushes don't end up being caked or whatever. The more that I sit down and paint and have those sessions, the more I'll be able to work out to streamline those barriers to start and stop painting. So for now, when I stop painting, what I do is I scrape what I've got on my glass palette off and I throw it away. Most of the time. Depends if I've got a whole lot of paint on there, then I might just scoop it all together and just use that to paint over a blank canvas or something rather. But otherwise, I will try. See, this is the thing. I'm trying not to waste paint, but I'm also not trying to be in the headspace where I've got to save every tiny little, sliver of paint, because I've tried that and it doesn't work, because by the time I come back to it, it's hard anyway. So the best thing for me is to just scoop it all up, chuck it in the bin. So I just use a palette knife, paper towel, get all the excess paint off the palette, which usually isn't much anyway by the time I'm finished, because I am quite conservative with my paint. And then I put that in the bin, and well, actually I use the back of the paper towel to actually wipe down the palette afterwards so that it's fresh to use for next time. And that's all I need to do for my palette. With my brushes, I've got walnut oil, and I've got to say walnut oil is the best way, I'm finding is the best way to keep my brushes clean after painting. So I've got a jar with a bit of netting in the bottom. It's just like a plastic thing, I don't know. But I wipe my brushes across it and clear out the paint. So using it like what you would if you were using your terps a tin with terps in it, with the coil inside, except there's no terps, it's just walnut oil. And it does a really fantastic job in cleaning my brushes, I've got to say, getting most of the paint out. And so that's what I'm using at the moment. So that's made stopping painting quite easy. The only thing is cleaning the brushes while you're painting, as sometimes you want to use a different colour. So I'm still working that one out, because walnut oil does take long. It seems to take a lot longer than linseed oil is to dry, and that's hence why some of these are still really wet. Some of these are still got damp spaces. I don't know if you can see it. Wet patches. But it's getting there. This is all part of the experimentation of figuring out how I'm going to make oil painting fit for me. So someone else might have a different procedure to start and stop. Whatever, I think we need to just find out whatever works for, whatever works for the individual. But it is good to get tips off other people. What else have I got to say? I think that's about it. Oh yeah, about Patreon. The second Patreon rewards are up, and I am working on the third. There is it is a little bit behind, but it will catch up quite soon once I get my arse into gear. I don't know. I don't have any Patreons at the moment, so I'm just doing it and just pretending that I do. But I think that's it for catching up with all the work that I've done. What I'm going to do is pretty much the same things that I've written down here, the same things that I've done since. So, like I said, get into a routine with my anatomy studies and gesture drawings, because I do think that they're very important, along with the form, contour, armature, because I did find that they helped. So I might try and work in that plane, and I need to work on my proportions a little bit more, because I am having proportion issues. So I need to figure out that shortcut for me. So I'd like to do that by the time I come back for the next video, for the next Art Roundup video, that is. And obviously more practice paintings, and long paintings. I would like to have the next one started at the very least, perhaps maybe the next two started. The thing that is delaying me from these long paintings is that I'm wanting to put more into them. Not just a carbon copy of the reference photo that I've gotten. I get my references. I use my references from the free sites for these, but I don't want them to be an exact copy of the reference, so I will change something. I can't even remember what was this. I think this horse was by a river, if I remember rightly. I'm not quite sure. So it is not the same as it's not a carbon copy of the reference photo. And because of that, that means that I'm actually designing and trying to put something in each of these that is more than just copying a reference, and that takes a little bit more time to figure out what it is that I'm trying to achieve with each of these. So that is making the process a little bit longer. But I do want to try and at least get the next one started. Like I said, I do want to also try to get more than one going at the same time. So we'll see how that goes. And working at the processes for all of these. I do feel that the more that I do this, the more of a routine and process that I can make out of it. And that way I know at any given stage of whatever it is that I'm doing, I know what the next step is. And at the moment, most of the time I don't. I'm just going it by, just winging it. So we'll see. I'm just flinging it out there and just seeing what sticks. See what processes stick. I'm still in the experimentation phase. I'm still trying out all different things, and hopefully, something will come to light and will stick. So that is it for this video. So I do have a morning sketch video that goes into a little bit more about that plane. I think I wanted to do it in a morning sketch. I haven't edited that video yet, but I will edit that next. So that should be up by the time this one comes up. So if you haven't seen that yet, go and have a look out for that one. And also, let's hope that I can get my arse into gear and get caught up with my Patreon rewards, and also these long paintings, get these done so I can start moving on to the next subject. I don't feel like I'm doing enough, and I'd like to do more, so that is what I will be working on. So I'll see you in the next video. I hope you come back. If you enjoyed this, leave a comment or a like or subscribe or whatever you want to do. Actually, I'm kind of sick of saying that, so obviously if you liked it, you'll subscribe. I don't care. At this point, do it. You know what? You do what you want to. If you don't like my videos, that is perfectly fine. I am absolute amateur. I am more of an amateur in making videos than I am in painting, and that's for real. That's for sure. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. And yeah, you do what you want to do. If you want to subscribe and keep watching, then do that. I could go on a rant about something else right now, but I won't. I'll save you. Maybe I'll save it for another video. Maybe when I don't sound so congested as well. Oh God, I'm gonna have to cut most of this out because I sound like an absolute. It's annoying me. The sound of my voice is annoying me, and for some reason I can't stop. I can't stop this video. Just press the stop button. Just stop recording. There it is, right there.